Veterans reentering civilian life face many challenges, including finding a job. Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Welcome to this special edition of Military Makeover Operation Career. Today, we have 4 inspirational stories of former servicemen and women who have reinvented themselves and are thriving at companies that value their unique skills. Our hardworking men and women in the United States Armed Forces, just like all of us, understand the importance of higher education and, indeed, the pursuit of knowledge and self-improvement, and that is universal. We've recently visited the University of Chicago to literally learn more.
While serving in the military is both tough and rewarding, the quest for higher education after serving your country can be just as daunting for some in our veteran community.
War has changed me. Having gone through that, I see the value in every action, every interaction, supporting people, supporting goals, dreams, ambitions, because that is what's going to be a positive turn. If you invest in people, that's, I think, the exact opposite of war.
The time I served in the military really changed me a lot, and I was curious about how experiences similar to mine or different from mine might cause someone else to change in a different way.
Katie and many other veterans have discovered much about themselves through the rigorous and supportive programs offered by the University of Chicago.
So our Veteran Scholars Initiative was designed to be a holistic program that provides support for our veteran scholars here at the university who are undergraduate veteran students coming out of service. I oversee a lot of the programs that have to do with our veterans.
I wanted to come to UChicago because it has this reputation for rigor. I think a lot of people in the military have a similar kind of thought process, and I wanted to get as much out of my education as I could.
So I had heard about the University of Chicago just through the higher ed pipeline, right, of veterans going in. But it's an elite school. It's super rigorous. It's an incredible institution. I didn't honestly think I had a chance to get in.
Sometimes, too, there's just a reluctance of thinking to themselves that they're not good enough for an institution such as UChicago, that they would never get admitted, that they wouldn't be able to afford it. We always go out of our way to make sure that they know that they're not just welcome at UChicago, but that they belong at UChicago.
If it was truly elitist, I wouldn't be here. And they're choosing students from rural communities, students who are veterans. I think the University of Chicago has really been paving the way to close that gap between what is elite and what is attainable.
UChicago kind of took a different approach, and they started focusing more on things that the veterans need to get taken care of. The price tag on UChicago it's expensive. Whatever the GI Bill doesn't cover, UChicago will cover the rest. So all veterans graduate 100% debt-free.
I'm very passionate about this work. I think that it's really important. It speaks to a larger calling of service and continuing to support service members, much like when I served. My father served in the military, my younger brother as well. So service within our nation has always been important in my family, and in the small town where I'm from really values it a great deal.
I joined because I had made maybe a series of poor life choices earlier on, so I'd kind of hit a low point in my life, so I decided to enlist in the Navy.
I joined at 18. I got a job doing cybersecurity for the Air Force.
Being in the intense South Carolina heat while training to go to Afghanistan, and we're in full battle rattle, full gear, and it's 100 degrees, and you're just dying. You think you're gonna overheat, but you have to go through the training, you have to prepare for combat.
My very first assignment in England, one of the projects I worked on was in one of the ICBM early warning systems. It's a very important system. It does exactly what you'd expect it to do.
From my first deployment to Iraq, I became a platoon leader. All my troops, they made it home safely, and that was what meant the most at the end of the day.
Bo's ironclad commitment to his troops' safety was inspirational. His present-day allegiance to the student veterans of University of Chicago is transformative, speaking directly to the university's devotion to America's returning warriors.
We want student veterans, we want service members, we want them to be successful, and we want them to be happy.
I love this place. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It truly feels like a privilege to walk these grounds every day.
University of Chicago, paving a path to success for our nation's heroes.
No doubt about it, life takes energy. Meeting that challenge is leading energy infrastructure company Enbridge, who provides reliable energy to millions of people every single day. For the hardworking men and women transitioning from the United States military, this creates plenty of new career opportunities. The new mission? Building a cleaner energy future while fortifying our energy security today.
Bridging to a more sustainable energy future means providing the energy that people need and want today, while increasing investment in renewable energy solutions. As a diversified energy company, Enbridge is uniquely positioned to do just that.
At Enbridge, we're a leading energy infrastructure company. We operate throughout 41 states, throughout Canada, some offshore business, and we supply to millions of customers every day the energy that they need to fuel their daily lives. Renewables at Enbridge has been part of our portfolio for about 20 years. So that's a key part of our participating in a much more sustainable energy future.
Enbridge is a socially responsible company, and renewables seems like the next logical step for us to move into. It just makes sense for us to go there next.
With the transition of Enbridge getting into renewable resources, I think that's a really good thing because essentially, we want to reduce our carbon footprint on the world, and in doing so, you have to be able to branch out into new avenues of energy.
I'm responsible for about 1,000 miles of pipe and 13 compressor stations. I've been leading for most of my adult life. I entered the military at the age of 17, and by the time I was 19, I was a non-commissioned officer and leading a team.
I joined the Marine Corps right outside of high school. I was 19 years old. I was deployed to Helmand Province in Afghanistan and to support combat operations during the Battle of Marja.
At my swearing-in ceremony, it really changed for me. Something about the swearing-in ceremony and understanding at that point that I'm willing to defend this country not only for the people that I love, but for the people that I don't even know. It was a responsibility that I was excited to take on at the time, and it felt very purposeful. Much like the energy industry does for me right now, delivering energy safely and reliably to millions of people.
We know that veterans and military people bring to Enbridge are the core skills. We know that the skills that they learn, the experiences they have, are very much translatable to what we need to run our business.
So my military values transcribe to the Enbridge's values very easily because in the Marine Corps we're taught honor, courage, commitment, integrity in all things you do. I take great pride in that, not only just being a Marine, but in the fact that I was able to serve my country.
The values of Enbridge as a corporation are integrity, respect, safety, and inclusion. Very much in line with the values of the military.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is important to us because that's how we win as a business. And our business wins when all of our people feel included.
And I think that a diverse perspective is super important. People are our biggest asset as a company.
What I would say to a vet considering entering the Enbridge workforce is we want you to be welcome. We want you to see yourself, the skills that you bring. We want you to feel that you can share your voice.
Enbridge. Life takes energy.
Access to products has never been easier with the help of modern shipping. But do you ever think of the dedicated men and women who help to get you everything you need? Next, we visit a company who, when it comes to service and veterans, is truly driven.
DART's been around for around 80 years. DART is a full truckload carrier that runs majority of the United States. The 53-foot trailer that's being used now is largely in part to the DART ownership team. And we do a lot of point A to point B loads.
I served in the Army National Guard of Minnesota. I served for 8 years and I was a PFC. The pride I take in the military was serving with some of the best guys I've ever met in my life and doing some of the craziest stuff I've ever done in my life. In the military, you always know you got guys that are on your side. You protect each other, everything else. You get in the civilian world and it's instantly you're on your own, nobody's got your back, and it's really difficult to move into that because all you're thinking is, where's my battle buddy? It took a long time and it took a lot of help from a lot of good people, but I got back into trucking. I feel very respected and appreciated here.
So I do feel at home, and I enjoy the camaraderie that I have at DART. I currently serve in the National Guard for Minnesota, but I initially joined with the Army Reserves. I live in two worlds all the time. I have to be ready to pick up the phone and be Master Sergeant Gore, or else I have to be able to pick up the phone and be Sam Gore, the asset manager or the highway sales manager.
I was in the United States Air Force from July of '79 to March of '90 as an E5 Staff Sergeant. I had an uncle that had served, and he and I were very close, and everything he told me about what he did while he was in, that's where I needed to go. And I knew it was also going to help me to mature, to help in job training. It was an honor, to be honest, being a member of something. It's like I've told others, you don't tell someone that I worked for the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. Parallels between military and DART, I would say, are a lot of attention to detail. You've got to have that drive. You've got to be the best that you can be, the same way you do it in the military or when you do it here. You always want to put your best foot forward. And my job is to help to maintain the facilities, to provide end-user IT support, facilities maintenance, whatever needs to be done.
The people that I've worked with are all been with DART for over 10 years, so we have a relationship with each other that kind of goes beyond just your work relationship.
They will train you, they will set you up, they will give you the loads you need, and they will give you the tools to succeed.
You feel part of a team. You feel like you're again, a member of DART. You're not just an employee, you're not just a number. And you feel appreciated. Your hard work does not go unnoticed.
WPP is a creative transformation company and one of the biggest advertising holding companies in the world. For them, diversity and inclusion are important parts of their corporate framework and driving factors behind many of their veteran success stories.
So WPP is the creative transformation company. We are a large company made up of many operating businesses that really kind of run the gamut in advertising and marketing. So everything from PR to consumer research and strategy, social media and influencer marketing, that's what WPP is. What's so great about our work is it has so many impressions, so I say eyeballs. So we have so many eyeballs on our work, and we think about the impact that those images have across every single person. Veterans bring more than they know to the table, right? They know how to project manage, work with a team, collaborate, work well under pressure, and kind of keep that cool, calm demeanor. So there's so many elements of what veterans do that I don't think they give themselves enough credit for that are certainly transferable skills at WPP.
I served in the Army Reserves and the National Guard for a little bit over 16 years. Back in 2012, the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, they used to have a career fair for Ad Week. And before that, I had no experience, no exposure to the advertising industry. I attended that first career fair, and that's really when I started to learn a little bit more about this industry. Some of the skills and training that are really applicable from the military into the advertising world. It's a lot of obviously not the hard skills, it's really like the soft skills, attention to detail.
My experience in the military was one of many fortunes that I actually got a chance to get more familiar with the medical career and the healthcare background. So transitioning out of the United States military and coming to the VMLY&R, my medical skill sets is actually what got me here today. And being able to work once I got out of the military and transition over into the civilian sector, healthcare was what got me here. Being a veteran and actually looking at a veteran's resume or a veteran with veteran skill sets, it's just a plus for me because, you know, I understand the difficulties some veterans have when they transition from out the military or just trying to speak the language, trying to get into corporate America. Sometimes they cannot articulate themselves very well on paper. So I look for personality and punctuality, given what I know as a veteran. You know, I know they're loyal to their company, they add value to the company. And with veterans, they possess unique skill sets to adapt and overcome and learn pretty quick on their feet.
I think veterans should definitely look at WPP because we have so much to offer. WPP is not just any old company. We have many operating companies, and we really look at coming to WPP as your ultimate career destination. We have so many existing employee resource groups, our ERGs, that exist across our operating companies, where we have different community of vets who've already found each other and are really kind of a safe set of hands and a great place to land when people are transitioning directly from the military or even from other industries into advertising and media at WPP.
I think people in the military, in particular people maybe from combat arms positions in the military, they're going to bring that calmness to the room. They're going to bring that leadership.
My favorite part of my job is actually being able to give someone an affordable living and actually look at their happiness, and being able to have an opportunity to coach and mentor is like one of the key things that I'm really enjoying, working with some of the greatest people at this industry.
Great to see that after sacrificing so much to their military service, today's veterans have found careers where they've been able to shine. I'm Montel Williams. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Military Makeover, Operation Career. We'll see you next time.